Which one of you bastards called this bastard a bastard? It turns out they're all bastards. Welcome to the Long Hop Cricket Podcast, and I apologise for the rude introduction, but I feel that...
And if you didn't get that, go back to our sledging podcast.
There you go.
I think you did reveal the story on that one.
I think it's sort of episode 12.
That is quite a nice little story. Why don't you just run through that again?
Well, should we introduce the podcast?
Oh, they can read.
That's true. That's true, isn't it? You never think of that when you're doing the podcast, do you?
Because
you've got to introduce it, but they click on it.
Thing is, though,
it's got a title.
But some podcasts put down titles
to make you click on it, and that's
no. I mean, there's titles that are quite specific to something that's happened during the podcast,
right?
So,
I see what you're saying.
A line from the podcast.
Okay,
would be the title.
right.
You're
not going to entitle it with.
No, I'm just going to probably put cheating Aussie scum.
If you haven't guessed what this one's about, this really is a world cricket podcast, isn't it? We are covering world cricket in this one, which is what people wanted.
I didn't even call this cricket.
We can't really not cover it, though, can we? It needs to be talked about.
And listen, I love saying listen.
Just before we get on to it.
Not like they're already listening. That's all they can do on this podcast is listen.
It's about the Australian ball tampering, just so you know.
Ball tampering? More like DIY on the pitch.
Go on.
Sandpaper.
Right. Was it?
Yeah, no, it's good. Come out, it's sandpaper in their bags now. And we've got lots to talk about. Let's not just bust it all in the first.
Yeah, nice.
If you haven't listened to the first test review, then go back one. England versus Australia. Not England versus Australia, England versus New Zealand. First test review. And if you're hankering for another podcast, wait till Sunday.
Nice.
We have an exclusive.
Right, we just rolled.
We don't.
Shall we do some news before we cover the big news story? Because
I think we should this is a rainy day one.
Right. But
this computer doesn't work that well, so if I start loading up news...
No, I don't want that. I just want you to mention the one person that some club signed.
Oh, right. So does this mean you're going to get a season ticket?
Well...
So Worcestershire have signed Guptill.
It's a long way for him, isn't it?
And it's Owen's favourite ever player, apparently, since yesterday.
That's not true. I said that... Well, none of that statement...
Who is your favourite cricket player?
None of that statement you just said is true. All of it is a lie.
Who is your favourite cricket player?
Current.
I'll give you the last 5 years.
Too hard.
Because I've got mine. It's not an England player either.
What? Oh my God. He doesn't play anymore, does he?
No.
He doesn't play for England, doesn't play for India, doesn't play for Australia. He plays for Sri Lanka. He used to be their captain for quite a long period of time. His batting average as an opening batsman is unbelievable.
Did he open?
And as a wicket keeper...
I don't think he opened. He batted like 3, didn't he?
You obviously don't know much about him. His opening average when he wasn't a wicket keeper is incredible.
I met him once. Lovely man. Honestly, I honestly have met him.
And that man is Kumar Sangakkara.
I just think he's a god.
Have you seen the sledging video with him sledging someone?
Is that Polly?
It is terrible sledging. It's not good at all. It's like, hold weight on your shoulders.
Oh, is it Polly or Boucher? He's
yeah, it's not great sledging.
The best players ever graced the game.
Who?
It's Kumar. Probably one of the most underrated players to grace the game.
Yes, I would agree with that. Probably not the greatest.
If he was Australian, he would be above Steve Smith.
Well, definitely now.
Everyone is now.
Definitely everyone. Ever.
So before we crack on, who is your favourite player?
I don't have one, mate. I couldn't just name one because it's like...
Who's your favourite England player been?
Favourite ever England player?
Yeah. You do like Andrew Strauss.
I like Andrew Strauss. He would be up there.
I think Colley's mine.
Oh.
I like Brody, but I think Colley.
Why? What do you like about...
Do you know what Colley?
I get why you like Colley. I like... It's the grit.
Yeah.
It's the grit. He never looked very good, but he did well.
And he played for the team.
Yeah, well, he had no choice. Couldn't play for himself, could he?
Broad,
imagine that career.
I quite like the hair.
Stuart Broad's
anyway,
annoys me.
Enough
too
about
much.
me. You.
My favourite
England player. This one isn't that difficult. It's not as difficult as world cricketer because you love Sachin Tendulkar, Shane Warne.
I don't know. I'd have. This is
such a horrible way to go about things.
What do you mean?
I think
Well, you just want me to name someone. You
No,
don't actually want me to give a real answer.
No, I
You
just
want
don't
me
think.
to fling Simon Jones. He was cracking. I loved him. Great bowler. There you go.
That's a surprising choice.
There you are. Should we get on with it?
I was more thinking it was Ravi Bopara.
Right, good. Let's get on with this, mate.
But anyway, the third test between South Africa, Australia, in South Africa, a little bit of, the bad stuff is going on. The cheating.
Now, from my understanding, is it Bancroft?
So what's happened, right?
They're passing the ball round.
Yeah.
The ball gets to Bancroft. He takes something out of his pocket.
Bancroft originally said it was tape.
Yeah, tape that he'd put on the pitch to get grit on it from the pitch. And then
But
he was using
it's now coming out that it is the team have sandpaper with them.
Right.
And a lot of people are saying sandpaper.
The team.
So it's in the dressing rooms, right?
The team.
Let me just read you out.
That's important to later things we're going to talk about. Like the team. Go on.
So there's a lot of talk about, was it sandpaper or was it tape?
Yeah. They originally said tape, didn't they? Or did
now
they, or was it originally just put out
So
that it was
Cricket
tape?
Australia's investigation also confirmed Bancroft's used sandpaper, which will do a lot more damage than dirt on tape.
Absolutely.
During the third test against South Africa. It found Smith and Bancroft had made misleading public comments when on Saturday they instead claimed it was actually yellow tape. So it looks like, which this is disgusting, but it looks like the senior, they're calling it the senior, no, they're not, they're calling it the leadership group, aren't they? That's what they've called it.
SLT.
So they're not calling it the
Senior leadership team.
They're not calling it the senior players. There's a Twix on the floor and the dog's eating it, Owen.
There is. I thought I'd eaten it, but there's half in there and the dog's had a go. She didn't get in. It's okay if you're worried.
So, what's happening, what has happened is Bancroft, who once said he took out yellow tape to the third test,
Yeah.
they actually have sandpaper in his pocket,
Yeah.
and he was given the ball to damage
Yeah.
purposely to try and influence reverse swing.
Yes. So,
for those of you, you'll probably be better at explaining this, but for those of you who aren't familiar with the idea of reverse swing, you rough up one side of the ball,
yeah.
which should be naturally done by the pitch
Yeah.
and by bowling and by batting.
The ball just has to get really old for you to have a chance of doing it.
And a team will leave one side very dry. Will try not to touch that side at all. That will be just by scuffed up by the pitch.
Yeah.
You see a lot of teams throwing it in now on that side.
Yeah.
And then one side will be polished, kept, any bit of scuffs will try and be pushed out naturally using the fingers, maybe the palms, but a bit sweaty. Probably, normally there's a chief ball shiner in the team.
A little bit of sun cream.
Murray mints, all of the good stuff. But obviously, Australia were finding it difficult to find reverse swing in that test match.
I think they were just losing.
And they resorted to using sandpaper to scuff up one side more quickly than naturally it should be scuffed up.
And so they pass it to him. He pulls it out of his pocket.
So he's got it in
like a
his
thin
fingers,
slither.
And it's yellow. They should have got like a pale,
And he comes up on the big screen.
Yeah, oh no.
And just I cannot imagine the panic that must have come over him, and he just shoves it down the front of his trousers.
Also, it's sandpaper, mate. You're not anywhere near the crown jewels.
Just shoves it down the front of his trousers.
Look, what is the best thing about this story is
Just
the
awful.
umpires go over to him. It's like, what was that? He pulls out his sunglasses case. Well, it's like a fur.
Yeah.
He's not even wearing sunglasses.
Right.
He has no sunglasses on him. He just has the case on him.
Right.
And the umpires, oh yeah, that's fine actually. Yeah, that's fine. They're like, the umpire should have been like, well, where are your sunglasses, mate? But he obviously has panicked.
Yeah.
There's been a message that's gone down. I think it's Matty Renshaw or whatever the other opener's called. They radio the coach Darren Lehman has radioed down saying it's on the telly.
Right.
So the substitute fielder has gone out to the pitch with drinks and said, "Mate, what are you doing? You've been caught."
Yeah.
Things are about to hit a bit of a storm here. And he's panicked. And while there's still over 30 probably cameras I don't know how many cameras, lots and lots of cameras in the stadium.
Yeah, there's a lot.
All pointed at one man.
That's the thing.
And he's just like, do you know what?
The thing is ball tampering seems so difficult to pull off, because if there's one thing that every camera in the stadium is following is the ball.
Yeah.
So why you would, if you're going to try and do it, you're going to need to get it out of sight, or when the cameras aren't looking at it. Not when you're passing it round the field, pull something out your pocket and rub it on the ball and then pass it on. That's where every single camera in the stadium is looking.
And there's lots to talk about this. We'll probably do it in a non-linear way because there's just so many things to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put it in, some sort of linear fashion for everybody.
Yeah.
But the ball doesn't actually reverse swing after that much.
No. Well, they said it didn't work.
South Africa batted out and won the test, and they would have won it anyway, even if this thing didn't come up and hinder Australia, if you like. But what I find really interesting is the fact that all the behind-the-scenes stuff, who was involved, who wasn't involved.
Mm-hmm.
Bancroft is a lad who's played less than 10 tests.
Yeah.
Just starting off his Australian career.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go on to bans and what's happening next later on in the podcast. Let's just talk about the incident at the moment. He was caught red-handed.
Yeah.
And I wanted to first of all start this podcast by referring back to a few of the other cases in world cricket that we've seen and kind of rack them up next to Bancroft's incident today.
Right.
So take it all the way back to Michael Atherton.
Yeah.
So Michael Atherton, similar to Bancroft, was trying to promote reverse swing.
Right.
But Atherton did it in somewhat of a more intelligent way, maybe.
Did he ever actually get charged for that?
He did.
Because I've seen the footage of it. I mean, it's ridiculously, blatantly obvious.
It's Tendulkar who didn't really get charged for his ball tampering, but he got a ban, and then they released the ban. And I don't really want to go into Tendulkar because it's confusing. But Athers has it's a bit like the Great Escape, when they keep the dirt in their pockets and they release it.
I mean, it is so shockingly obvious.
And what he's doing, he's going into his pocket and he's got dirt in there and he's bringing it out.
He's got a bunched hand.
Yeah.
And then he releases his bunched hand on the ball. That is so obvious. And again, every camera is looking at the ball when he does it.
But sandpaper, I'm sorry to say, is a different level. That is worse than dirt.
I don't. You see, I don't think there is all that's much worse. If you're ball tampering, you're cheating.
Yeah, no doubt. But I do think sandpaper is a bit more aggressive in its fact of. Yeah, that's quite an aggressive way to go about ball tampering.
Yeah, but it's the same offence.
You're still cheating, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you've taken. I know dirt is a foreign object to tamper with, but you've actually taken a tool, if you like. Sandpaper is sandpaper. If I got dirt and rubbed,
you could find dirt on the pitch, couldn't you?
And if you rub dirt onto something compared to rubbing sandpaper on it, that takes a different effect to that object that you're rubbing it onto. And that's a way more severe effect. Whether they should be treated differently,
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I do think they should be treated very seriously.
Yeah.
There have been other incidents like Shayla Freedy. Shayla Freedy bit the cricket ball.
Do you know what his excuse for that
Smelling
was?
it.
He was smelling it. I mean...
What did you say about that?
Yeah, so...
Shayla Freedy's also been done for... Which isn't ball tampering, but he was...
Pirouetting
down the pitch. So, actually a water cooler blew up.
Yeah, on the boundary.
And
everyone's obviously thinking the worst. And this guy goes straight for this is perfect opportunity to just dance all up
and there's been lots of cases of running on the pitch and whatnot. And
his was more than running on the pitch.
I do think we've seen incidents where this Australian summer we've seen incidents of balls that haven't carried that I think Kawaja's one was not out. Now that's cheating. Stuart Broad edging to slip and not walking all those years ago is cheating in effect. But this isn't anywhere. I don't think we can put this next to Bancroft. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because he's found a loophole in it, hasn't he? He said, right, I don't have to walk. But effectively, he knows he's hit it. You know if it's not caught.
Yeah, I mean, those things are bad etiquette, aren't they? But within the game.
Yeah, so he's bent the rules, effectively. He hasn't broken them, if you like. But Bancroft has... what I think it is interesting conversation is put that next to Faf du Plessis' incident 2 years ago
With the
now?
Mints.
Or was it last year?
I think it was last year. I don't think it was that long ago.
And he's got what he's got. He's got the sugar off the mint. And Faf, to this day, will say, I wasn't cheating. I wasn't doing that purposely. Whatever.
Well, if he gets done for that, then everyone ball tampers.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no way people aren't eating sweets and then using their saliva to put it on the ball.
But I just think sandpaper makes it far worse.
See, I think if it's ball tampering, it's ball tampering.
Yeah.
I understand that using sandpaper has a bigger effect, but...
And I think it's more shocking. You've actually taken out sandpaper to the pitch. It's not like you even...
It's more stupid. I'd give you that.
Yeah, and without... I know it was premeditated.
Because you got no excuses. You get caught with sandpaper.
Oh, yeah.
Murray mint, you go, I was having a Murray mint, I'm going to use my
Yeah.
saliva on the... Sorry, if we're not allowed to sugarcoat it. But sandpaper, you're like, yeah, my nails. Didn't want to scratch the ball with my nails. That's quite good, actually. They didn't think of that, did they? So I didn't want to affect the ball with my nails. Sandpaper out just to file them down a little bit, and I caught the ball. Sorry.
What is funny is, do you remember when Cricket Australia started tweeting out when those video images of Jimmy Anderson running his thumb across the ball came out in the Ashes? You said it was cheating. Well, you said it was ball tampering. I said it wasn't. Egg on their face now, I'm presuming.
Well, it's just like... It's just classic Australia cricket.
There's been...
Right, here's a great one for you. So, Michael Atherton, right, way back, some Ashes in Australia.
Yeah.
He smashes one, gets caught behind. He's blatantly hit it, doesn't get given out, it doesn't walk. Right, goes on to make 100 or something, wins the game or whatever.
Yeah.
And as he's walking off, I think it was like David Boone or someone, I don't know, it might have the wrong person, just calls him a cheating and all this. Yeah. And he just goes, when in Rome, and just walks off. Like, absolutely. Like they've been all high and mighty about stuff.
Again, go back to
Yeah, I mean, we need to go on to sort of what we feel should be done.
What I do want to talk about before we go on to sanctions for this is what's come out of the Australian camp. Steve Smith has come out and apologised. Mm-hmm. And that apology, Bancroft, I feel like there's a little bit more like...
Did you see the press conference?
I think he's basically come out and said, sorry, I got caught.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
No?
You see the press conference, he doesnn't care at all. Like, we're using some tape to rub the ball. I would feel bad about it. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's
Is
ridiculous.
that the end of the press conference now? Like, what?
There was no remorse.
Like, I'm not stepping down as captain. Like, sorry? Is that your decision, is it? Like, wow.
With Bancroft, I felt like there was a little bit more remorse there. Maybe because he's a younger player who hasn't necessarily got a career laid out in front of him.
I think that reflects even worse on Steve Smith.
And Australia.
Maybe. But, yeah, I think it reflects even worse on Steve Smith because I think they've said they had a team meeting and they decided to do it, to ball tamper.
Yeah.
It's then gone.
He's used the leadership team in that team.
Yeah, right. But then he's gone, who do we give it to tamper the ball?
Which the young newbie.
You give it to the youngest guy. He's the least likely to get done, isn't he? With the worst thing.
If you watch the video footage of the whole umpires going up to him, what have you got, mate? The video pans to David Warner, and David Warner looks so sheepish.
Right.
Like he's just like, bang, we're done here. Imagine when you do something in life, and you have instant regret. Just imagine what that must be feeling like.
No, it must be absolutely horrible. Yeah. Well, I mean,
there's a lot of chat about this leadership team. Yeah. Who's in that leadership team? Do you think?
All of them. It's a team.
I think
it's a team.
Yeah.
There's no way like 3 of them are going off and going, should we tamper with the ball? Don't tell the rest of them.
We'll get on to layman. What?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that.
We'll get on to... But why aren't the bowlers being talked to?
Well, you think they're not?
I mean, why aren't the ICC or the Cricket Australia...
Oh, sorry, right.
Saying,
I see what you're saying.
Because you're taking sandpaper to the ball.
Well,
that's making... It 1 over... So let's say if it's, I don't know, Cummins or whatever, who starts bowling, he lets the ball go for an over, comes back to it. Great big mark, Sammy ball. He's not going to say something.
I mean, it's hard to talk about without going into sanctions, isn't it?
Well, I just want... No one has approached Australian seam bowlers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were definitely in with this...
The whole team was.
This plan.
The whole team was.
And I think you're missing a trick by not going to the bowlers. If you don't think those bowlers were part of this, then you are a mug.
Well, you're just lying. That's just
They've
lying.
just been able to sneak under this.
No, I think Cricket Australia have gone, we can't get rid of the whole goddamn team. We're going to have to just stick this on the captain, the vice captain, the bloke who tampered the ball. And hopefully people will just go, yeah, sorted.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
But that is, I mean, for me, you get rid of everybody. You have to get rid of everybody. If they've had a team meeting, said they had a team meeting.
The keeper's got to know about it because he's thrown the ball out.
They all know about it. There's no way that
Do you
happens
think even...
not everybody knows about it?
Do you
the
think...
coach has to know.
Yeah, all I think the coach has to know.
They all know what is going on.
Do you think there's a possibility for a player like a middle order player who won't see the ball? Nathan Lyon probably knows about it.
Listen, the only way that you could get out of being put in with everybody else in this situation is if you'd have come out before. And no one's going to do that. No. Before they got caught and gone, their ball tampering. I said I'm not being a part of it, and if they do it, I was going to come out and tell you. Imagine that.
What about if you're fielding a place like square leg or point where the ball isn't being thrown to you and you've got no... You're just there fielding in a position, right? Or maybe if you're a bad fielder, you're down at long leg, right?
Yeah.
But you're not a bowler.
Mm-hmm.
I know that doesn't happen much, but let's just say you're in the field where the ball will come to you and you're just throwing it back in. You're not looking at... You're not touching the ball. You've got sweaty hands. You're not touching the ball. Do you think those conversations... You know, these conversations that I've been having, do you think that was the whole team in the dressing room? Bang, 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 bang. We're doing this. Whole team, get involved. We are doing this. We're letting you know. Or do you honestly think it was the bowlers? I think the bowlers are involved. I think all of them are involved. There's no way the bowlers don't know it's been tampered with.
Yeah.
I think the keeper knows. That Smith and Warne and Bancroft obviously know. They've come out and said it.
It's the team.
You think the whole team know?
Yeah, the whole team definitely knows. The only people I feel even have any slight remorse, like feel slightly sad for, empathy towards, is going to be like maybe 2 of them, who just thought like, really, this is horrible. But obviously you can't go to the captain, the vice captain of the international team,
especially
and go, you're not doing this.
With the captain being Stephen Smith, probably the best cricket Australian batsman in the last 50 years.
You can't,
and David Warner, a fantastic player as well.
There's probably a few people in there who didn't want anything to do with it, but there's no way that not everybody knew that was happening.
I think the problem is I think by keeping the coach, you've left poison in that team. If you said we'll get rid of the coach, right? You bring in somebody else who is hardline, almost like Cricket Australia is like, we're not taking any shit here.
Well, they have.
But let's just say someone who's not directly involved with the team, but like, you know, like who's big up in Cricket Australia is just saying, we're not taking any shit. You're getting out and we're going to do a proper investigation into this.
Yeah.
And we're just going to gut anybody's cheat for 12 months. And then you got to really prove to come back in the team. That would have been, I think, by keeping the coach in there, who definitely was part of the plans.
Yes.
There's no way you're having a conversation that big without somebody going back to the coach or the coach being present.
And there's no way he doesn't know there's sandpaper being kept in the changing rooms. Come on,
there's
guys.
There's a lot of chat about sandpaper being used on bats and things like that.
Okay.
And the ball, obviously.
Right. But come on. The coach knows. There's no way they have a team meeting discussion of how they're gonna win, how they're gonna get back in the game. Yeah. That the coach is not involved
Especially a leadership meeting.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the coach walking in and Smith, Warner and
the only possible, which hasn't happened.
Right, sorry about that. Owen, you were about to talk about the only way the coach doesn't know.
Sorry?
You were about to go on to say the only way that the coach wouldn't be part of these plans is...
Right, is if they're like they're like sat next to each other at tea on their own little table, and Steve Smith just leans over, he's like, I've got a plan. Listen, we're getting battered. In my pocket, I ripped a little bit of sandpaper off. Here you go, keep it in your pocket. When the ball comes around, you just give it a little polish. Do it real quick though because of the cameras. And if you see yourself on the big screen, put it down your pants really fast, okay? Shh, don't tell anybody because
he starts just going like
people
getting his finger.
People aren't going to want to do it, so keep it to yourself, okay? Okay, newbie,
right?
Just keep it to yourself.
What's going through Bancroft's head? Being like, because I don't know if it was me. Well, I know it's difficult to say.
You got to get to that level. You got to be super competitive, and he's probably been like, "Oh, the captain's seen it in me, Steve Smith. Oh, this will," and he's probably just got. Think of the bullshit they're filling their heads.
Any more malice in there being like, actually, mate, if you're not going to do this, then we don't know if we see you part of this.
But just imagine do you think David Warner doesn't peer pressure people into doing stuff?
Oh, yeah, and beats people up.
Do you know they separated David Warner? He stayed in a different hotel after.
What?
Because the team hate him so much. And they were so worried about him starting a fight, they put him in a different hotel.
When was this?
After this came out.
Oh, really?
They separated him from the team.
Well, he was just going to run through the team and beat them all up. Thing is, though...
For snitching.
I actually...
For getting caught.
Snitches get stitches. That's why you start texting out to people.
In their WhatsApp group.
I think... Just imagine the conversation, right? So I know this is mad, right? But Warner and Smith was being like, "Should we cheat? Yeah, let's cheat." And then being like, "Right, who should we pick?"
Right. Do you reckon they ever said cheating? I don't think they will have.
Well, let's just go and tamper the.
I don't even think they'll have said that.
They'll say let's go and rough the ball.
It's like, listen, it probably won't make any difference. Probably won't. We're not gonna like rag it on it. We'll just give it a little bit just to help it along. That's all we're going to do.
What was I going to say? I think they must have had some really... That conversation, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall for that conversation because I think that conversation is going to be really intense. Saying,
the problem is...
We want you to cheat for us.
Where do you do that conversation?
Well,
Just think if someone hears it.
No, I'm with you. I think the whole team's involved.
Yeah, but what you do it in the changing room? And someone walks in.
Yeah.
Like sandpaper on the bat, ready for when we bat, not on the ball.
There's also something odd that Graham Swan came out and said, if you're a captain, you should... Why are you asking other people to do it? You should be doing it.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why it reflects so badly on him. He's like, we'll cheat.
You're the captain.
But I don't want to get caught cheating, so I'll put it on the youngest player because if we do get caught, he's the least likely to get punished badly.
Have any... can you offer any sympathy with Bancroft?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm sure he's been peer pressured into it. And I mean, it must be massive. But at the same time, it's your choice. It's your choice to cheat. And if you don't want to do it, because there will have been pressure on him, because he's new to the team, he obviously wants to be in the good books of the captain.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to do it, just go, listen, you do it, but I don't want to do it.
Stuart Broad came out with something interesting.
Right.
I think it's quite tongue-in-cheek, right? Okay. So they interviewed him after the New Zealand game, and they said, what do you reckon about this whole cheateroo stuff? And he said, I don't understand it. Why would you change anything? They were getting to reverse swing loads in Australia, and you're just thinking like, okay.
Because there's stuff come out of Bancroft putting sugar in his pocket and stuff, isn't there, in the Ashes?
So is Bancroft just a massive cheat?
No, the Australian team are a massive cheat. And I think, honestly, now this is... I don't even think it's that big thing to say. I think you've got to wipe Steve Smith's team from the history books.
Oh, all right, yeah.
You've got to take every result that they have played and you've got to wipe it out of the history book.
So where does this... Because you've got... Where does this relate or we put this next to Mohamed Amir's no ball incident?
Right.
Where do these two correlate? Can we look at these two in the same?
Not really. One is actually illegal. One is actually breaking the law.
So which one's breaking the law?
It's setting up to win money.
Right. Okay.
That's actually illegal.
Do you think Mohamed Amir is his actions or that Pakistan team's actions? Those players that obviously some got put in prison.
Yes.
You think that's worse than what Bancroft's has done, right?
No, not towards cricket. Only because theirs was for financial benefit and had no effect on the game.
So do you think there was no competitiveness?
Yeah, there was no intent. They weren't changing the game for the better. They were losing a run but deliberate.
Yeah.
So you have to be punished outside of cricket, and they're lucky any of them have been allowed to play again. With two of them haven't, and one of them went to prison. Well, they all went. I don't know.
But then what I want to say is,
the Australians have come out with trying to change the game in favour of themselves.
Then
that is totally different.
Can one applaud their competitiveness?
No.
Well, like Mohamed Amir has done it.
Because if you're properly competitive,
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Right?
Yeah, but if you're properly competitive, then you want it as fair as possible, so you can definitely win.
But then one might say that Bancroft has done it in the interest of his team winning, while Mohamed Amir has done it purely for individual reasons and for reasons non-related to cricket.
Yeah.
I personally don't think Mohamed Amir should have been allowed back in to international cricket.
I can agree. Yeah. I mean, I can understand.
I know a lot of people, including yourself, have said things weren't going right for him at that point in time. A very young lad, got hoodwinked into it, etc., etc. Let's go on to the sanctions that Australia have given, and then maybe we can bring back the Mohamed Amir stuff. Obviously, he had time out of the game.
Yeah.
Forced that time out of the game. The other guys, prison sentences, which won't be applicable here.
Yeah.
But Bancroft's out for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
He's had the lighter sentence, if you like.
Yeah.
That's 9 months banned from cricket.
Which is why he was given it to do. That's why they made him do the ball tampering.
Right.
Because they knew he'd get less if he was caught than anyone else.
But
because he's new to the team.
And Warner.
They were just hoping they could pin it all on him if they did get caught.
But saying that though, what I will commend about Steve Smith, he did say he did it in a hot.
Well, that you're done and dusted. He was hoping if they got caught, they might have found it in his pocket, not seen it on the big screen in the middle of the arena and rubbing it on there and then shoving it down his pants.
Could the Australian team just turn straight on Bancroft? Could the leadership team?
Yeah, they should have had another meeting. Gone, listen, we got to cut this guy loose. Come on, Davey. We said that's why we put it on him. We can't go back on that now.
Steve Smith has come out and said, no, I was part of it. I asked them to do it, etc., etc.
Yeah, good, easy trial. See you later then.
Yeah, but then I do think the Australian I've got some sort of I'm not saying the way Steve Smith did it was almost like, I'm sorry I've been caught. But, these things happen.
I was trying to win. What do you want me to do?
And it's like, it was almost like, I've done it. What are you going to do about it? And it's just like, mate,
I couldn't believe it when he said he wasn't gonna give up the captaincy. Not only is that a ridiculous thing to say, but
why do you think we want to win world cricket? Why do we think we want a cheater?
But who has the mindset of outright cheating, being caught cheating, and going, yeah, it's my decision and I'm staying?
Yeah,
like, sorry,
you're not Arsene Wenger.
But like what? Like what? It's like this just sums you up. And I've said, I'm sorry, you can go back through all of the podcasts. I said this guy was an arsehole right from the start. I've hated him. You can tell by the way someone carries themselves. Yeah. The guys are. I don't like him. And David Warner, I mean, everybody hates that guy. So
Smith and Warner have had 12 months out, right?
Yeah.
I think there's been something said that Warner will be not considered for any team leadership positions in the future.
I mean, what kind of punishment is that?
And Smith and Bancroft can't captain. Well, irrelevant for Bancroft.
Right.
But Smith and Bancroft can't captain in the next 2 years.
What?
The sanctions.
It's like basically not a punishment.
Well, they both have a year. They all have. Smith and Warner will have a year at cricket. Bancroft 9 months.
Right.
And then
it's basically not a punishment, though, isn't it?
And then Smith can't captain the team for 2 years.
Right. What does that mean? He can't be named as captain.
Yeah.
But if they want him to do the captain role, he can.
Well,
he just can't be named as captain. It's
what?
Like, come on.
So
that's
do you
not
think?
a punishment?
What would you? How would you?
You cannot play international cricket ever again.
But you'll let Mohamed Amir play.
I didn't say I would.
No, I thought you were. No, I'm not trying to catch you out.
No. Well, they are completely different.
We have
situations.
spoken about this. I think we spoke about it on the podcast.
Right.
We spoke about this off the podcast, and you were up for Mohamed Amir coming back into the international.
Yeah, I mean they are completely different situations, so you can't really compare them.
But then, does Steve Smith get let off lightly because he wasn't the one caught with?
No. Listen.
So you think
I would ban, if it was up to me, if there was like a World Cricket Board and I got to make the decision, I would ban the whole team. Everyone in the changing room.
So what about one of those players that's a passenger in their team? You'd ban them?
I would ban
forever?
I would ban everyone in the team for 12 months.
Yeah.
Investigate.
Yeah.
And then people who are found to be involved, I would ban them from international cricket forever.
So you're saying, on the evidence we've got at the moment,
yeah, I have to take everybody out.
Warner and Bancroft are banned forever at the moment.
Yeah.
But everyone, there's a new Australian team in the next 12 months. There's no way the coach. Well, I've said this. No way the coach.
Well,
the
coach has to be fired. You have to fire the
Yeah,
coach. That's just a no-brainer. I mean, and you'd hope he just never gets hired again. Who the hell is going to hire?
I've heard a lot of Australian fans say he's poisoning that team anyway.
Right. So you fire him, and I think you 12-month ban everybody in the team because there's no way they didn't know about it, and then you investigate, and the people who have been found to make the decision follow it through. Are banned from international cricket forever. And if a county still want to take them on, then you take them on. If they get caught cheating in your team, then, I mean, it would just destroy that team.
What?
And I also think Steve Smith's legacy as a captain has to be wiped out. All of their victories have to be just cancelled from the records.
Do you think that's harsh?
No.
But, I mean... I've worded that wrongly. What about the people that have done it previously? They've obviously, Michael Atherton's kept his...
Yeah, I would be up for doing that as well.
Okay.
Anyone caught doing it, they're and they should. I would even be tempted to wipe them from the history books.
So what about Mohamed Amir?
Yeah, I'd take his career away before he came back.
Okay, interesting.
Wipe his career before he came back. Yeah, go for it.
There was lots of things I think we still needed to speak about. One of them is: do you think this is the final nail in the coffin, if you like? And this has been going on a long time. Australia have been cheating for.
You can't tell, can you?
I think England are guilty of this.
It's no way the first time they've done it.
South Africa found it with the Murray Mints.
Yeah.
Whether that's cheating, I'm not sure. But I do think people will try and find their way to manipulate the ball the best they can.
Yeah.
Taking sandpaper out onto the pitch is a completely different matter.
Yeah.
But we saw it with Jimmy Anderson was rubbing his nail, rubbing his thumb over the ball. We've seen the Murray Mints. We've seen Joe Root have mints in his mouth. We've seen saliva. We've seen whatever. Teams will try and manipulate the ball the best they can.
Yeah.
And there's definitely cheating going on, if you're going to call that cheating.
Right.
Everybody cheats then. World cricket is full of cheats. But do you think... I'm not saying the Ashes, it caused us to lose the Ashes, right? I'm saying, do you think Bancroft has been, or this Australian team under Smith in particular, have cheated beyond Murray Mints and having a little dab on the ball?
Yeah.
So you think the sugar in the pockets, you think all that...
I think Steve Smith's bat should be measured. It's probably like half an inch wider. Seriously, you just got to... I hate cheating. I hate it. It's like I cannot bear it. It's just so lame. It just ruins everything. It's such like a spoiled,
when we played garden cricket,
little kid who
you
can't
used
win.
to cheat a lot.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did all the time.
No, I didn't.
Like you'd get like two games up and just like, nah.
When
you cheat.
No,
you cheated so much.
I
the only time you didn't cheat is when you made that double 100 on that flat wicket.
I've never cheated. I've never cheated. And then playing a proper game, I've always walked. I've never ever not walked. I've never cheated it. But I might have said I didn't get caught by a hedge when we played garden cricket, but properly playing a game, I've never ever cheated.
I think what is interesting is if you look at the Australian fans' perspective of this, they've come out and said we would do anything to win. I mean, within the laws of the game,
right?
But you bring in cheating, we'd rather get battered than you cheat for us.
Do you know that the Australian players were complaining about how they were being treated?
Yeah, but which is double standards. You go out to Australia and you get absolutely...
That's what like Graham Swan was saying.
Yeah.
It's like all this high and mighty team, and now they've been caught out. It's just like this. They're just full.
You shouldn't cheat, right? Even if you're getting booed. David Warner, fielded on the boundary, had a security guard between him and the fans. Do you not remember all the shit
he can look after himself.
Well, he has. Joe Root knows that. But do you remember all the stuff the Australian press and all the players did about Stuart Broad cheating?
Yeah, I know. Well, of course.
It's double standards.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Those double standards don't
we
make
knew
you
that
cheat.
we knew it was double standards when it was happening.
There's been so much crap that's come out of this. I'm embarrassed for Australia.
It is embarrassing, isn't it?
But I like it as an England fan.
It's just coming.
It is embarrassing. I feel sorry for it.
So hard. Like everyone knows, they knew that they were being cheeky by calling people cheats and stuff. And everyone's like, that's bullshit because you're the biggest cheater.
Yeah.
And now they've been caught doing this. Just like, oh my God.
And this is, Australians have always been known not to walk, right? But this is on a different... You've taken sandpaper out. You're manipulating the ball violently, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it?
The Australian Prime Minister has come out and said, we will...
Didn't he get teary about it? I think he was actually genuinely upset because this is something that you can't... It's now... It's like... How long does this take?
Steve Smith above. In Australia, people see Steve Smith above the Prime Minister. They see him as like one of the most powerful men in the country.
I've said what my sanctions would be. What do you think about what's happened to him and what would you actually do to him?
I think... Listen, I'm quite... I feel like I'm quite strict with this. So a lot of people will be saying, what about... I don't think even Ben Stokes, completely different matter, has been treated properly. I'd be far stricter on Ben Stokes than I. I've said this. He should have a 12-month ban just for punching someone. Let alone cheating. He should have a 12-month ban for punching someone. Steve Smith, Bancroft, Warner, 3 years minimum. Right. Absolute minimum, 3 years.
I think Ben Stokes is closer to the Amir thing. Just it's like outside of cricket, you're actually breaking laws outside of cricket.
Ben Stokes is way far more, but he's even further removed than Amir. Because Amir did it in an international game.
I'm just saying it's less affected on the game.
But Ben Stokes has gone out and punched someone, right?
No,
and he should have a 12-month ban.
Yeah, it needs to be dealt with. It's just
I'm so up for what you've said. It's saying you sack everybody.
Yeah.
And you reinstate them if no evidence comes back in 12 months.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine with that.
I think that team should be guilty until they're proven innocent.
And I think even if Australia gone on a hiatus, say, right, we're not touring, let's come to the end of their summer anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're going to have to wait till their winter. Excuse me.
Think of the abuse that team's going to get wherever they go now.
Have the next 6 to 12 months investigating that team. If Nathan Lyon comes out clean, he can go back in the team.
To be honest, if I was a player in that team, I would want that. Because if they don't, that whole team's labelled as cheats now. If they said, listen, we're getting rid of everybody, and if you're found to be clean, we'll let you play again. I would want that as a player, because then when you come back, you go, listen, I was proved that I didn't do anything. But if you just stay in the team, people are just going to question you for your whole career now.
What I do want to say is 3 years minimum.
Right. 12 months is just a joke.
No, that's tiny.
It's just a joke. It's just not even... It's just like avoiding it, isn't it? It's just avoiding the actual problem.
Steve Smith should never, ever be looked at as a captain ever again.
And that's not even I don't see that as a punishment. That's just stupid.
But Australia haven't come out and said anything. And they said 2 years.
Right, yeah.
David Warner, again, the same. And so with Bancroft.
Yeah.
And then due to the investigations, you look at who else has been naughty.
Mm-hmm.
The bowlers have to be looked at, and they have to be banned. There's no way. I've spoken about that. There's no way that they can get involved. Australia. I don't want to. Thing is, I don't want to punish Australia as a team. I want to punish the players. So I don't want to say Australia lose such and such rankings or whatever, because I think the Australian badge and the Australian. There's a lot more than just 11 players on the field. It's the country. It's their fans.
That's why it has to be dealt with properly.
They shouldn't be punished
because of what they represent. You can't have people like that representing your country because that's what they're doing. You need to cut them out immediately and show that it isn't tolerated. But then you gain respect then, and then they have the chance of dropping the label of being cheats. At least then people go, that team was a cheating arseholes, but Australian cricket isn't.
Do you think Australia are almost... things could be heightened because, let's be honest, Australian aren't, maybe because of their success and their attitude, certainly. Those two combined. No one likes a cocky, very good person, do they? And Australia have been that for the last God knows how many years. Yeah. Probably since...
Forever.
Yeah. The dawn of time. Do you think that the people's feelings of jumping down their throat is heightened because of their reputation? If this was
people can't wait for it.
Do you think that has affect? Do you think if this was Sri Lanka or New Zealand, who, in my opinion, are loved teams,
right?
I
think if anyone uses sandpaper on the ball, they're going to get. It's not as big a news because they're not as big a teams, obviously, but they're still going to get. It's still going to be news. You're still going to get absolutely. I'll tell you what, they probably get. I don't know. Would they get? I don't know, but they're still gonna. It's still going to be massive news. But it's just because it's Steve Smith, and this guy's like, oh, he's the second coming best player ever. Like, oh, he cheated all the time. Like, there you go. That's why. Like, scrap him from the history books.
But what about turn the other cheek?
I would take his batting stats, his bowling stats, and his whole history as Australian captain, and wipe him from the history books. So he's not allowed to play international cricket again.
The IPL have said we don't want you part of our tournament, so they've got rid of him.
Yeah, and if a county want you to play for them, then that's on them. But you're not playing for Australia again.
Worcester chose Guptill. So there you go. To finish with, the way Australia have dealt with it since, obviously it was during a test match. And there's a lot of chat about Australia for their final innings where they had to chase down a score. Big score, they weren't going to do it. But whether they were going to do it or not, I think is irrelevant. Should they have come out and declared and said, we're not going to play the end of this test match because we're cheats? We're going to declare. Or 0-0, we've lost the game. So they're not... Because, when the ball tampering came for Pakistan and Inzamam ul Haq came out and said, we're not joining the field.
Right.
And they got counted out. The whole team got counted out, right? And lost that game because of their...
I guess. I mean, yes, probably. I quite like the fact they lost, though.
But then, again, at the same time, are Australia then, therefore, stealing from South African public? Because they're obviously going out there
they
to
already
watch
have. As soon as you start cheating, you've ruined it.
It's an interesting one. Because part of me says they should have declared. Then I'm saying, another part of me says...
It shouldn't even be up to them. The game should just be null and void. Just taken.
No, what I'm saying is, I think it should have been played out. Purely because they are supposedly supposed to be entertainers.
How good is it that they lost anyway?
Yeah.
That's so good.
And there's people that's gone out and paid money for that.
Yeah.
Not that they would have lost the money, they would have been refunded. But don't steal away someone's day because you're a cheat.
Yeah.
You don't deserve that power to take away someone's enjoyment for the day, watching a day's cricket in a lovely part of a lovely stadium, lovely part of the world. Don't go and steal that away from someone just because you can't keep it in your pants. I've got very little respect for Australian, the 11 members and the backroom staff.
I think Australian cricket needs to be careful to make sure it's this team that takes this label, and they have to try their best to stop it from just being like that's labelled as the Australian cricket culture. And I think the way they do that is just be absolutely ruthless with the punishment. But obviously they haven't been. Because this punishment to me suggests they're trying their best to keep these players. They're not actually really bothered. They want to make it look like they're bothered, but as soon as they can, they want these people back playing.
Do you want to hear Darren Lehman's emotional apology?
No. I've got no... Seriously, I don't care. As soon as I watched a little bit of the Steve Smith press conference, I just turned it off. They don't care.
Cricket Australia have come out and said David Warner was responsible for the development, so it was maybe Warner's idea. Yeah, I'm just searching through Twitter. You can find us at Long Hot Podcast. But anyway, I think
we'll call it a day there on that, because I get so wound up about it. I hate this stuff. Needs to be cut out of the game. Like, this shouldn't have to be spoken about. Should it? I mean, it's just rubbish.
I think we've given a good account. I think what we haven't spoken enough about, but we don't need to, I don't think, is what it's like to be an Australian fan at the moment.
It's not great, is it?
They must be so, not embarrassed, but I think the Australian public must be so infuriated with this team. I think we could talk about that forever. We're not going to. And it'd be interesting to hear from any Aussies out there how they do feel. But from what I've seen, online and that, the whole country is outraged by silly, greedy men trying to cheat to win games of cricket.
Yes, but I think they probably I think that like people just become deluded, don't they? They must just be just totally deluded.
But when you watch Steve Smith and David Warner play cricket, they look like they're entitled. They've got this entitlement that just comes with them.
I've hated Steve Smith since day one.
I liked him when he used to bowl leggies.
The only time I've ever enjoyed watching Steve Smith on the television was, I think it was the 2000 the Ashes, where the last time we won in Australia. They'd already lost the Ashes, I think, and we were piling on the runs again. Someone skied it when they were on a lot of runs. Can't remember who it was. The ball was dropping, and as Steve Smith was running in, he didn't catch it, and Ricky Ponting left it for him to catch it. It's obviously his catch, and the ball just drops between the two of them. And Ricky Ponting just gave him a death stare and then walked off, and he looked like a little boy who'd been told off. It's the best thing I've ever seen.
Have you seen the stuff from Gilchrist almost crying when interviewed about it and things like that?
I like Gilchrist.
Right, I think we should leave it there because we could.
Gilly was the one who they asked him if he appeals, just to see if it's out. Yeah. He's like, no, I only ever appeal when it's out. It was sort of a joke, but no, I don't. I can't ever see Adam Gilchrist cheating. Like, he just seems so genuine to me, but this seems a joke.
Right, let's call it a day.
If you enjoy it, this. Slightly negative one.
YouTube have come out and said...
Is it negative?
Just because you subscribe doesn't necessarily mean the videos will turn on people's subscription boxes.
Eh?
So just because you've subscribed to a video...
Right.
That doesn't necessarily... Or a channel, sorry. So you've pressed the subscribe button. YouTube have come out and said that doesn't necessarily mean that the videos will turn up in their subscription catalogue, if you like.
Oh.
Yeah, isn't that mad? What's the point of subscribing then?
How does that work?
So they've got two buttons for it. It's the bell button now is basically the subscription.
Oh, I see. Press the bell then.
I haven't.
Do you have to press the subscription in order to press the bell?
Yeah, so it's two buttons to do the same job.
Okay, well, press both.
Yeah, and then also send...
You could do a like as well.
Send money.
We'll start doing a Twitch account soon with Cricket Manager. But yeah.
Right, if you've enjoyed this, like, subscribe and comment.
We're one run away.
Yeah, we are
150.
from 150. If you're interested in cricket, then...
This is the place for you, isn't it?
KP podcast comes out on Sunday.
It's like doing a Steve Smith podcast. It's just a little bit below it.
I haven't listened back to it yet. Probably a decent little show.
It will be cracking. You should tune in for it.
And obviously the game kicks off...
Tune in.
I don't know if it's tomorrow night or Friday morning... But the second test, and we will obviously be covering that early next week after the stag that Owen's going on.
We're mostly moany, aren't we?
Are we turning into like... Have you ever watched Arsenal Fan TV?
Well, yeah, I don't want to do that. We need to be careful.
Did we moan during KP? We kind of... Yeah.
Yeah.
You especially.
Well, I don't like him. So anyway, we'll finish it there. I hope you enjoyed it.
But listen,
And can people leave some comments?
Listen.
Yeah, they have to.
When we
they don't have to,
start doing video content, especially Moneyball,
right?
There'll be no moaning going on.
Okay.
Just be pure fire. I hate people say that.
Oh,
anyway, over and out from the Long Cock Cricket Podcast.
Ooh.